Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Caramel apple pops were one of my favorite candies growing up. That buttery caramel outside and crisp apple flavor inside, so nostalgic. Today I'm showing you how to make adorable caramel apple tags, perfect for gifting to your trick-or-treaters, coworkers, or anyone who loves a sweet Halloween surprise. They're quick, easy, and totally capture that cozy Halloween vibe. All right, let's jump right in. For this project, I'm using the Greetery's Caramel Apple Die Set, which comes with the apple base, a few different caramel drizzle options, a leaf, a stick, and an adorable little bow. Everything you need to build the perfect paper caramel apple. I'm pairing it with Scrapbook.com's nested tag dies, one of my favorite versatile sets for creating custom-sized tags. And for the papers, I pulled from a few pads in my stash, Echo Park's Mom's Kitchen, and Scrapbook.com's Festive Duo, Neutrals, and Harvest Pad. You'll also need some twine, Versafine Clair ink and Nocturne, or whatever ink you have, and Scrapbook.com's Happy Halloween Sentiment Stamp. We're going to be making both red and green caramel apples. For the caramel topping layers, I'm going to be pulling the brown paper from the Harvest paper pad. For the apple bases, I am using the Festive Duo paper pad. It has this really beautiful bright green and this really scrumptious red. For the stick, I'm going to be pulling that from the Neutrals paper pad and the leaves from the brighter and darker greens in the Festive Duo paper pad. The bows are the same red as the apple base. Everything's nice and coordinated. So we're going to give these layers a little bit of life. They're a little bit dull as is. To bring out the green apple, I am using Distress Oxide and Mowed Lawn. I am going in with a very light touch just around the edges to bring out some of the dimension. For the red apple, I'm using Lumberjack Plaid and deepening it with a red StazOn ink. For the leaves, I added Mowed Lawn to the lighter green and Rustic Wilderness to the darker one. And the stick gets a light brush of old paper, and the caramel layer gets Vintage Photo. Using the Scrapbook.com nested tag set, I'm going in with the 4th largest size, but you can create these tags to be any size you'd like. So I'm going to cut the tag out of the Neutrals paper pad and distress the edges using Scorched timber. For the background, I'm layering on this adorable red and white gingham from Echo Park's Mom's Kitchen pad. I'm cutting out the paper a little bit smaller than my actual tag to leave that nice border and adhering that to my tag base. To create that glossy caramel effect to mimic real caramel, I am going to be using Ranger Glossy Accents. So I'm adding that all over the top, setting it aside to dry, and look at that shine. It's so satisfying, and it really does look like real caramel, doesn't it? Now it's time to put everything together. So I'm going to insert the stick into the apple, and with this die set, there's a little indentation to guide you as to how far to insert the stick into the apple. We're going to glue down the leaf and caramel layer, and I like to add some stamp blocks on top to help it dry flat. While that dries, let's make our sentiment tag. So I am going to stamp out Happy Halloween using the Scrapbook.com Happy Pumpkin stamp set and Versafine Clair Nocturne ink. And then I like to punch an eyelet at the top for that finished look, but also to add a little bit more security to the whole. Once your apples are dry, glue on the paper bows. I brushed each of the bows with the red StazOn ink for extra depth, the same ink that I used to darken the red apple. I'm adding foam tape to the backs of the apples and adhering them to the tags. We're going to adhere our sentiment using some twine. I'm using this red and white twine to tie everything together with the red and white gingham that we used. I am folding the twine in half, feeding that through the eyelet of the sentiment tag, and then through the donut hole in the main tag, and then feeding the loose ends of your twine into the loop that you created and tightening at the top. And just to finish off the tags and add a little bit more zhuzh, I added some rhinestones. I'm using some red ones for the bows and rose gold ones scattered around. It's those little sparkles that make it magical and makes the finished look really polished. The Greetery does sell faux nut toppings, but you can just as easily DIY your own. I mixed fabric paints in hot chocolate and winter white and Scrapbook.com pops of color in sunflower. It's what I had on hand, so I made it work. I used a popsicle stick and using a stamp block as my base to mix all the colors together. I mixed and added color until I got that nutty color that I was looking for. I then took my popsicle stick, with a good amount on the end of it and just dabbed it in different areas. It doesn't have to be precise or exact because these are supposed to mimic chopped nuts anyways. Now, all that's left is to attach your caramel apple pops. So you're going to flip the tag over, and I'm using washi tape from the same Echo Park Mom's Kitchen collection to secure the caramel apple to the back. It's better to use washi tape so that way if someone wants to save the tag or reuse the tag, that washi tape easily comes off without damaging the actual tag. And that's it. Your caramel apple tags are done. They're festive, fun, and a great little handmade touch for Halloween gifts. Again, really good to just quickly whip this together for last minute coworker gifts as well. I hope you enjoyed crafting with me today. If you did, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss more crafty fun. Thanks for watching, friends. Have a safe and happy Halloween, and see you in my next video. Bye.